we are watching the proclamation of our new king, His Majesty King Charles III, isn't it? Yes.
As she was outlining what will be done in his name. A huge...
Kung bago ka lang dito sa channel ko, please hit the subscribe button and smash that notification bell para lagi po kayong updated sa mga videos na i-upload ko.
Major on the right of your screen, Theresa May, David Cameron, Boris Johnson, of course, Gordon Brown, Keir Starmer, I think, just to the left, on the left of the screen there. So unusual to...
The Queen Consort.
And the new Prince of Wales, of course, who's
just the next part. And in the next part, it is only Privy Councillors who attend.
The business
for example,
for part one of the
okay,
Council.
okay.
My Lords, it is my sad duty to inform you that Her Most Gracious Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, has passed away on Thursday, the 8th of September, 2022, at Balmoral Castle. I propose that, when certain necessary business consisting of Her Majesty, His Royal Highness, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Lord Chancellor, the Archbishop of York, the Prime Minister, the Clerk of the Council, and myself shall wait on the King and inform him the Council is assembled. I now call on the Clerk of the Council to read aloud the text of the proclamation.
Whereas it has pleased Almighty God to call to His mercy our late Sovereign Lady, Queen Elizabeth II, of blessed and glorious memory, by whose decease the crown of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is solely and rightfully come to the Prince Charles Philip Arthur George. We, therefore, the Lords spiritual and temporal of this realm, and members of the House of Commons, together with other members of Her late Majesty's Privy Council, and representatives of the realms and territories, aldermen and citizens of London and others, do now hereby, with one voice and consent of tongue and heart, publish and proclaim that the Prince Charles Philip Arthur George is now, by the death of our late sovereign of happy memory, become our only lawful and rightful liege lord, Charles III, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of his other realms and territories, King, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, to whom we do acknowledge all faith and obedience with humble affection, beseeching God, by whom kings and queens do reign, to bless His Majesty with long and happy years to reign over us. God save the King!
God save the King!
So she was just inviting the members of the council to sign. The Prince of Wales, the new Prince of Wales, Prince William, is signing first. We expect the Queen Consort to sign second, followed by the other members. Now, the platform party key members of, I don't know what you would, I mean, would you call it the establishment? I don't quite know what the correct term is, but some of the most people in key figures in the country, the Archbishop of Canterbury, of course, you probably recognise, the Archbishop of York, but also the Lord Great Chamberlain, head of the royal household, not a figure well known, but actually has proved a very powerful position at points in the last 10 years, responsible for the running of the royal household. So we're just going to witness the members of the platform party, the Prime Minister, of course, stepping up to sign now.
Just to be clear, I mean, this is a document that will be read by historians for years. I often go to the archives and look back on old proclamations with signatures faded at the bottom, and this is a new document being made, cast in that image. It's really quite incredible to see.
So how much does it vary?
It's very standard. What the Lord President there declared, the words, and then the proclamation, very, very standard words. They probably sounded a bit odd to people. The reference to Lord, spiritual and temporal, that's basically the church and the state. And there we have the Archbishop of Canterbury. And also the important role for members of the City of London, the Lord Mayor and the Aldermen, who are officials or chief members of the establishment, as you say here, signing. And after this, the Lord President will order that the proclamation is read out across London and then across the capitals of the other nations. And it will be a kind of the start of a verbal beacon, if you like, a lighting of beacons to proclaim proclaim the passing of the Queen and the accession of the new King.
The television had one interesting effect. It's a much more orderly procedure than it has been in the past, where the Lord President has had a call for quiet and so on and so forth. And as Anna was saying, the most senior official representatives sign first. All the members present also sign at a rather later time of the day. So at one point, everybody scrambled to sign the wordings of the proclamation, which was, of course, settled by the cabinet first before it appeared here. The earliest version I've seen, Anna may have seen earlier ones, is 1625, and the wording is almost exactly the same.
Okay, well, Penny Mordaunt, you may recognise from the Tory Leadership Challenge, who is Leader of the House of Commons, which is why she's in this position, is going to speak again
Council. 1. Ordering the proclamation to be printed and published in specialist supplements in the London, Edinburgh and Belfast Gazettes. 2. Directing the Lord Chancellor to affix the Great Seal to the proclamation proclaiming His Majesty King Charles III. 3. Directing the kings, heralds and pursuivants of arms to attend at the Court of St. James to proclaim His Majesty King Charles III. 4. Directing the Lord Mayor, the Court of Aldermen and Commons of London to attend at the Royal Exchange to proclaim His Majesty King Charles III. 5. Directing His Majesty's Secretary of State for Defence to give directions for the firing of guns at Hyde Park as soon as His Majesty is proclaimed. 6. Directing the Constable of His Majesty's Tower of London to give directions for the firing of guns at the Tower of London as soon as His Majesty is proclaimed. 7. Directing His Majesty's Secretary of State for Scotland to cause the proclamation for proclaiming His Majesty King Charles III of the Council to issue circular letters for causing His Majesty King Charles III to be proclaimed are hereby approved. And that concludes the business for this part of the Council. I now invite the deputation party to accompany me to wait on the King in the Council chamber.
Well, the King, the Privy Council meeting will now turn into Privy Council par excellence, as it were. It's the first meeting.
And subsequent acts to exceed the English throne, he has to be a Protestant. So in a sense,
So they've been waiting here, yeah, for the His Majesty King to arrive in that
I mean, as a
yeah.
historian, certainly,
He
it's
will
kind
be
of
sitting
beginning
down there.
of the sort of transition
Oh, yeah.
sign and make law formalised by Act of Parliament.
Ministers come in. We're waiting now for the new king.
Yay, the new king is coming. Right. There you go, the king.
Business for part 2 of the council. Your Majesty, to make your declaration.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, it is my most sorrowful duty to announce to you the death of my beloved mother, the Queen. I know how deeply you, the entire nation, and I think I may say the whole world, sympathize with me in the irreparable loss we've all suffered. It is the greatest consolation to me to know of the sympathy expressed by so many to my sister and brothers, and that such overwhelming affection and support should be extended to our whole family in our loss. To all of us as a family, as to this kingdom and the wider family of nations of which it is a part, my mother gave an example of lifelong love and of selfless service. My mother's reign was unequaled in its duration, its dedication and its devotion. Even as we grieve, we give thanks for this most faithful life. I am deeply aware of this great inheritance and of the duties and heavy responsibilities of sovereignty which have now passed to me. In taking up these responsibilities, I shall strive to follow the inspiring example I have been set in upholding constitutional government and to seek the peace, harmony and prosperity of the peoples of these islands and of the Commonwealth realms and territories throughout the world. In this purpose, I know that I shall be upheld by the affection and loyalty of the peoples whose sovereign I have been called upon to be, and that in the discharge of these duties, I will be guided by the counsel of their elected parliaments. In all this, I am profoundly encouraged by the constant support of my beloved wife. I take this opportunity to confirm my willingness and intention to continue the tradition of surrendering the hereditary revenues, including the Crown Estate, to my government for the benefit of all, in return for the sovereign grant, which supports my official duties as head of state and head of nation. And in carrying out the heavy task that has been laid upon me, and to which I now dedicate what remains to me of my life, I pray for the guidance and help of Almighty God.
I have with humble duty to crave your Majesty's permission for the publication of your gracious speech.
Approved.
Concerning the security of the Church of Scotland.
I understand that the law requires that I should, at my accession to the Crown, take and subscribe the oath relating to the security of the Church of Scotland. I am ready to do so at this first opportunity. I, Charles III, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of my other realms and territories, King, Defender of the Faith, do faithfully promise and swear that I shall inviolably maintain and preserve the settlement of the true Protestant religion, as established by the laws made in Scotland in prosecution of the claim of right, and particularly by an act intituled An Act for Securing the Protestant Religion and Presbyterian Church Government, and by the acts passed in the Parliament of both kingdoms for union of the two kingdoms, together with the government, worship, discipline, rights and privileges of the Church of Scotland. So help me God.
Inscribe both copies of the instrument, confirming the oath has been taken. I now invite the witnesses to His Majesty's oath to sign both copies of the instrument.
Witnessing the signing ceremony here, Brandon Lewis, the Lord Chancellor, signing. We've just seen the Queen Consort and the new Prince of Wales signing. Penny and I both noting in the studio here that William was left-handed, which I mean, small trivial moments. Did you know you wrote a book about him, Penny? Did you know he was left-handed?
I might have done.
Yeah.
Significant to reflect here on the importance of Scotland and the presence
Well, yes, I was just going to say, can you just
this.
remind us of the importance of the oath to respect the security of the Church of Scotland, and of course, you know, Scottish English, well, there's Nicola Sturgeon stepping up, so it's a good moment to talk about it.
Indeed, I mean, there's a separation of church and state in Scotland. Of course, the King is obviously King of Scotland, but important to therefore recognise the independence of the Protestant Church. I mean, these are, you know, historical but very sort of resonant moments here. Nicola Sturgeon recognising that the King is had enough for her, of course. She would like recognition coming down the line of recognition of independence entirely. But yes, I mean, the relationship, of course, that we're still thinking about between England and Scotland, you know, dates back, well, 1603 when the King of Scotland came to England, James VI and then first, and then of course the Act of Union of 1707.
But the Act, of course, was the result of a negotiation. And an important part of the negotiation, as Anna's saying, is the fact that the Scots wanted the independence of their particular form of Presbyterian Protestantism to be upheld. The king himself, of course, has to be a member of the Church of England.
Still, even to this day, rather a controversial negotiation, one might say. But anyway,
Indeed,
yes,
and a very hard-fought one. It's a very interesting way of doing it.
Okay.
Draft of an order in council authorising your Majesty's declaration to be made public. Draft of an order in council for recording the oath relating to the security of the Church of Scotland, to be transmitted to the Court of Session, to be recorded in the books of Sediment, and afterwards lodged in the State Papers of Scotland and in the Council Register. Draft order in council determining the form of proclamation for proclaiming your Majesty in the realms and in the British overseas territories. Draft of an order in council authorising the Lord Chancellor to make use of the Great Seal for sealing all things whatsoever that pass the Great Seal until another Great Seal be prepared and authorised. Draft of an order in council authorising the Lord Privy Seal, if need be, to make use of the existing Privy Seal until another Privy Seal is prepared and authorised. Drafts of 3 orders in council authorising your Majesty's principal Secretaries of State, the Lord Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, to use the existing seals until other seals be prepared and authorised. Draft of an order in council authorising your Majesty's Secretary of State for Northern Ireland to make use of the existing Great Seal of Northern Ireland until another seal be prepared and authorised. Draft of an order in council authorising your Majesty's First Minister of Scotland to make use of the Great Seal of Scotland until another Great Seal of Scotland be prepared and authorised. Draft of an order in council authorising your Majesty's First Minister of Wales to make use of the existing Welsh Seal until another Welsh Seal be prepared and authorised. Draft of an order in council authorising the public seals lately in use elsewhere than in the United Kingdom to be made use of until new seals be prepared and their use duly authorised. Draft of an order in council confirming your Majesty's wishes in relation to the Sovereign Grant Act 2011 to continue the tradition of surrendering the hereditary revenues, including the Crown Estate, to your government for the benefit of all, in return for the sovereign grant, which supports your official duties as head of state and head of nation. Drafts of 2 proclamations. 1. Appointing the day of Her late Majesty's state funeral as a bank holiday in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. 2.
Yes, bank holiday.
Appointing the day of Her late Majesty's state funeral as a bank holiday in Scotland.
And he said, yeah,
And
you
of
can use them
2
until you get
orders
a new
in
one.
council
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
directing
about.
the
So,
Lord Chancellor
until you've
to
drafted it,
affix
what are you going to
the
say?
Great Seal to the
That's
proclamations.
what you've proven.
I now invite your Majesty to sign both proclamations. that, Your Majesty, concludes today's business for the Council.
Watching. See you soon in my next vlog. Keep safe, everyone. Bye.
Today's video